Welcome back to Boson Buzz, where we explore the clever fixes for our planet's biggest headaches. I'm Monty Molecule. Today we're talking about scars, not on skin, but on the Earth itself. Vast, open-pit mines where the ground is stained orange and blue. Deserts where the soil has blown away, leaving only shifting sand. Land left behind by old factories, silent and poisoned. These places feel disconnected, like a pause button has been hit on life itself. For over a century, our method of fixing them was, frankly, a bit of a brute. We'd bring in monstrous machines to reshape the terrain, haul in mountains of clean soil from somewhere else, and hope for the best. It was slow, astronomically expensive, and often just a cover-up. But what if we could change the game entirely? What if, instead of fighting the land, we could convince it to heal itself? And what if the doctors we send in aren't engineers in hard hats, but trillions of tiny living machines, each with a specific job to do? This is the hopeful, quiet revolution of biological restoration. Welcome to the age of the Terra-Crafter. To understand the breakthrough, let's walk onto the site of an old nickel mine. The operation is closed, leaving a silent, alien landscape. The ground isn't soil, it's crushed bedrock and mining waste, called tailings. It's often acidic, like vinegar. It can be laced with metals like nickel, lead, or arsenic, elements that are toxic to most living things. It has no structure. Water drains straight through it. There's no smell of earth, no worms, no decaying leaves. To a plant, trying to grow here is as futile as trying to pitch a tent on a pile of rusty nails. In the traditional view, this is a construction problem. The old method, called remediation, treats it like one. You might see giant trucks dumping a thick blanket of imported topsoil, or crews spraying chemical neutralizers. Then, they plant the toughest grass seed they can find and hope it takes. It's like trying to heal a deep burn by just putting a blanket over it. It might look better from a distance, but underneath, the wound is still there. The new approach starts with a fundamental shift in perspective. This damaged land isn't a construction site, it's a patient. And the healing process it needs is the same one that creates all fertile soil on Earth, but it's stuck on the first step. In nature, when lava cools or a glacier retreats, leaving bare rock, life doesn't give up. A slow, miraculous invasion begins. The first pioneers are not plants, but microbes and lichens. They cling to the rock, secreting tiny amounts of acid that slowly, over decades, etch away minerals. When they die, their bodies create the first, thin layer of organic matter. This is how soil is born. The problem at our mine site is that the conditions are so harsh, even these hardy pioneers can't get a foothold. The new idea is breathtakingly simple. If the right pioneer won't come, we will design it and bring it there ourselves. This is where science becomes a matchmaker for nature. Researchers act like talent scouts, searching the planet for the ultimate survivors. They look in the most extreme places, in the boiling, acidic runoff from volcanic springs, or in the toxic sludge at the bottom of certain lakes. Here, they find bacteria and fungi that don't just tolerate terrible conditions, they thrive in them. A bacteria might literally eat sulfur compounds, which are a major cause of acid mine drainage. A fungus might have the ability to wrap metal atoms in a tough organic shell, rendering them inert and harmless. These are the superpowers scientists are looking for. Sometimes these natural abilities are perfect as they are. The microbes are just grown in huge batches in a lab. Other times, scientists might make a gentle, precise tweak. They might take a gene from a microbe that's great at tolerating arsenic and add it to a microbe that's great at building soil structure, creating a single organism with both skills. The goal is never to create something dangerous or uncontrolled. It's to create a specialist, a microscopic foreman perfectly suited for the specific job site. For our acidic, nickel-rich mine, we design a custom consortium. Team A handles acid neutralization, Team B handles nickel sequestration. So, the healing begins not with a roar of engines, but with a gentle spray. Aircraft or sprinkler trucks release a mist over the dead ground. This mist is alive. It contains billions of these engineered Terra-Crafters, sleeping in a protective gel that also contains food for their first few days. When they wake up in their new, harsh home, they get to work. The acid neutralizers start releasing compounds that balance the pH, turning the ground from hostile to neutral. The metal lockers seek out toxic atoms and encapsulate them, like putting dangerous treasure in a secure, microscopic vault. At the same time, fungal spores germinate. Their thread-like hyphae push through the crushed rock, weaving a living net. This net does two incredible things. It physically binds the particles together, creating the first crumb of soil structure, and it acts as a sponge, trapping precious moisture when it rains. Within a few months, the ground has changed. It's darker. It holds water in little puddles, instead of it instantly vanishing. It's no longer poisonous. It is now pre-soil. Ready for Phase 2, the botanical engineers. Now we introduce the plants, but not just any plants. The first wave might be fast-growing grasses or flowers that have been selected or lightly engineered for specific superpowers. Some are hyperaccumulators. Their roots are like magnets for specific metals. They draw the now encapsulated toxins out of the ground and store them safely in their leaves. At the end of the season, these plants are harvested and safely disposed of, physically removing the contamination. It's like using the plants as a living solar-powered vacuum cleaner. The next wave of plants has a different job. These are the builders and the nourishers. Some have incredibly deep, tough roots designed to break up hardpan and create channels for air and water. Others come with a built-in partnership. Their roots specifically invite in nitrogen-fixing bacteria. These bacteria set up shop in little root nodules, where they perform alchemy. They grab nitrogen from the air, something plants can't use, and convert it into ammonia, a natural fertilizer that feeds the plant and leaks into the soil, enriching it for everyone. This process, which nature uses in healthy forests, is now jump-started on command. Year by year, the transformation accelerates. The engineered pioneer plants, having done their cleanup duty, naturally make way for a more diverse crowd. Local seeds, blown in by the wind or carried by birds, find they can now germinate. Earthworms and insects return, aerating the soil and adding their own nutrients. The fungal network expands, becoming a subterranean communication and resource-sharing highway. The land is no longer being repaired. It is living. It breathes, cycles nutrients, and sustains a web of life. The scar is gone, replaced by a functioning ecosystem. The vision extends far beyond old mines. In deserts, specially designed microbes could help sand grains stick together, forming a biological crust that prevents erosion and captures morning dew, creating pockets of fertility for seeds. On land scorched by wildfires, custom teams could be deployed to stabilize ash, prevent catastrophic mudslides, and rapidly rebuild organic matter, helping forests return years faster. This approach turns the impossible task of healing wounded Earth into a manageable process of sequential biological steps. We are not replacing nature. We are giving it the tools and the head start it desperately needs. From a silent, toxic pit to a buzzing, living hillside. That's the profound promise of the Terra-Crafter. It represents a move away from the brute force mechanics of the past and towards a future where we work with life's own genius. We're learning to read the manual of ecology and then gently nudge the process along, using designed life to restore wildlife. It's a story of healing that is as slow, patient, and beautiful as nature itself. If the idea of rebuilding ecosystems with a crew of microscopic and botanical engineers fills you with optimism, please help Boson Buzz continue to share these stories. Give this video a like and subscribe for more glimpses into a future we can build together. I'm Monty Molecule. Until next time, have a safe and curious week.